It's a provocative question, but it's worth asking. Has anti-white sentiment become the new normal for some power players inside the Democratic Party? We're going to debate that with the head of the Washington chapter of the NAACP and Pastor Aubrey Shines.
Another white male. I'm very suspect of that this year going into a Democratic primary with women doing well in the African-American base of the Democratic Party. I'm not sure it's the time to dominate a white man.
Is it time to have somebody of color and a woman and somebody younger? But as a white guy, are you trying to calculate whether or not this is the right time for you?
Now, there's a reason the media continually asks this question. It's a mindset that seems to have been encouraged by the mainstream of the Democratic Party. The idea that a candidate might find or face scrutiny simply because he or she is white. I mean, why are we talking about race? I thought we were supposed to get away from judging people on the basis of their skin color. And why isn't that racist? Well, this is the latest in a string of stories we've highlighted to speak to this new reality. Now, whether it's the powerful Women's March embracing Louis Farrakhan and still remaining a powerful force inside the Democratic Party, or the no whites allowed vacation spots that we reported on earlier this week. How is any of this acceptable? Here to debate it, Hillary Shelton, head of the Washington, D.C. chapter of the NAACP, and Pastor Aubrey Shines of Glory to Glory Ministries. Mr. Shelton, I want to talk to you about this. Maybe I'm just naive here, but I think there has been so much progress. Nothing's perfect, but a lot of progress made at every level of society. Business, entertainment, high tech, sports, politics, a two-term African-American president. Why is the Democratic Party now banding about this? Well, if we nominate a white person, that might be problematic. Do you find that to be a little odd?
Well, put in those terms, it absolutely would be. But I would argue, however, a little bit differently. And that is, as we're looking at the challenges and problems we have in our society, there's a racial definition that surrounds those issues as well. So whether we're talking about employment, it was great for President Trump in this particular case to talk about how the African Americans have the lowest unemployment rate since the data's been collected. But what he left out is that the lowest unemployment rate is still 3 times higher than our white counterparts. As looking at the data and as it's designated.
So you're saying there haven't been any progress for African Americans under Trump?
There has been progress. So we've gone from slavery, of course, to being citizens of the country. So there's been progress.
No, but I want to make sure our national audience makes you understand. Yeah. You discount improvement in the economy for African Americans today?
Oh, we don't discount it. We recognize that it's there, but we also recognize that we have not reached a point of parity. So in essence, we're doing better.
When you say parity, do you mean equal opportunity?
Equal opportunity and equal outcomes, quite frankly. If we look at,
so unless you have a proportional representation on corporate boards, that's not equality in your mind? So it's not just equality of opportunity.
It's certainly not parity. So we want to make sure the voices are there. So whether we're thinking about corporate boards, whether we're thinking about, quite frankly, being able to get into colleges and universities, being able to own homes.
So you think you're okay with the kind of, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but it's kind of like it's almost an anti-white male or white female candidate mentality in the Democrat Party.
Oh, I would certainly disagree with that. I mean, certainly if you look at the voting patterns of African Americans, we've never had problems voting for white Americans.
Well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the way they were talking about it in those sound bites. Pastor Shines, you know what I'm talking about. This kind of, if you're a white person, you're immediately suspect. The blacks only vacation spots that we featured earlier this week, and I don't get that. Just the best person should win. I mean, we're seeing all this prison reform being done by Trump and opportunity zones, and that gets just thrown off to the side. Well, no, he's a racist because he's doing all this good stuff that's going to help underprivileged areas.
Well, Laura, first of all, always great being with you. But Mr. Sheldon has left out a tremendous point, and one of those points is simple. It has always been the Democratic Party that has always identified people of color by color. And this is why the Democratic Party is the party that gave you slavery and the KKK, etc. So when I hear Mr. Shelton and others begin to espouse these false narratives, it really fits the current narrative that's going on, and that is they overlook the facts. When I hear about this alleged disparity, let's take a look at that just very, very quick. If 8 out of 10 black kids are not being raised by their fathers. Guess what's going to happen? They're not going to get an education. They're going to end up in jail. Those are facts. And when you have that type of fact, guess what you're going to have? You're not going to have kids going to high school. They're not going to go to college. Therefore, they cannot debate and they cannot find themselves with any type of purity with their white counterparts. Put the dad in the home, let the dad take care of the kids, and guess what? There is no difference in the employment issue at that moment. So it's a false narrative that Mr. Shelton just offered.
When we have you both back, and we're going to have you back we're doing an hour on this topic, of just the racial topic in the new year. But I'm telling you, the rhetoric that we're hearing from some, not all in the Democrat Party, about the type of candidate that we have to see, not on the basis of ideas, but on the basis purely of skin color, I think that's a problem. I don't think it's good for the Democrats, and I don't think it's good for the Republicans. I think it's bad for the country. Well, it should be based, as Martin Luther King said, on the content of your character.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And we think those measures should be just that. So regardless of race, gender, ethnicity, point of national origin, and other differences, if we look at the outcomes, the kind of things they stand for, they vote for, the kind of needs that we have, not only...
You should work with the president on opportunity zones. You should work, the NAACP should be all for the opportunity zones.
I've got great ideas that might very well help and make it a wonderful program.
You could work with the president. I think you get along with him really well.
I look forward to doing it.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. We'll be right back.
Thanks again, Laura.